My name is Stuart Sengrid. I am a department chair in chemistry at Alexandria University in North Carolina. And for 23 years, I've been head of the parapsychology lab here. The recording which follows was made by myself on November 4, 1998. I'd long made a habit of surreptitiously taping my interviews with those whose premises I investigated in the course of my studies for the purposes of listening later to determine the owner's authentic mental state. On this, the day of my retirement from the university, I submit this tape to the archives in the hopes it will be educational to those who come after me. Hello?
Hello? I'm in here, in the living room.
Ms. Vargil?
That's right. Come in.
Thank you. Stuart Sengrid.
Oh, you might not want to come any closer. On top of all that's going on, I'm on the tail end of the flu.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it's been rough. I feel better just having you here.
That's understandable. Foul night. It got real cold.
So today's been a quiet day. Last night too, but the incidents tend to cluster.
Did you make the list I asked about of the 3 things?
Yeah, I did. In my head, but I have all the facts. Here, sit down. Sorry.
Thank you.
Should I go over it?
Please.
From most explainable to least explainable. That was the instruction, right?
Yes.
How come you do it this way?
I find that when people make a list and rank the incidents in terms of how rationally they might be explained, it helps them sort through the possibilities. A lot of people come to realize there's no need for me to come, and they feel better, and they stop being scared.
Okay. I get it. Okay. Let me think. All right. The first thing that ever happened, about 2 weeks after I moved in, it was just these feelings of panic, of disorientation. Chills down my spine, depression. Waking up feeling something was trying to get at me. Something totally undefined. It all started very suddenly. I started measuring my heart rate. It spiked sometimes.
And it's continued since the beginning?
Yes.
Is there an airport nearby, or a factory, or an industrial complex, something like that?
There's, I guess there's a power grid about 4 miles east of here. Does that count?
Maybe. Sometimes, not too often, these symptoms are caused by infrasound. Sounds at a frequency so low or so high that human beings can't hear them, but the vibrations can disturb your system in all sorts of ways. The thinking these days is that infrasound waves emerging from the reaction of high winds against rock caused the Dyatlov Pass hikers to panic and flee from their tents and freeze to death. Have you ever heard of that case back in the late 50s?
I have, actually. Infrasound. Interesting.
Not that that's certainly the explanation. It's just an example of explainable phenomena causing some very scary effects. Even a ceiling fan at a certain setting can have negative infrasound effects, even in our sleep, if the curvature of the walls nearby is a certain way.
Wow. Okay, that's good to know. I should talk about the presents next. That began a month ago. The feeling of something being very close to me. When I lay in bed, sometimes when I walked from... Actually, I'll show you.
Okay.
This room in here. It's pretty bad in here sometimes.
What's it feel like?
I want to say it feels like it's a presence above me. But once in a while, it's all around.
How long does it last?
10, 15 seconds.
Any particular time of day?
No, it's random. What do you think?
I'm not sure. Electromagnetic fields can create the perception of a presence. They fool the temporal lobes. They don't have to be very strong. The fields linger in certain types of building materials, so that might align with the fact that it's stronger in certain rooms. I'd have to take some measurements.
It really feels like a presence, though.
Oh, it wouldn't feel like static or electricity. You would perceive it as a presence.
Power lines?
Not so much. We could even be talking about the water table below your house, conducting something. Storms in the area might cause the fields to settle for days if the house has flaws to conduct them.
Okay. Being in the living room? Did you feel anything?
I did, but to be responsible, I can't trust those feelings. Again, it's important to rule out rational explanations.
What was it that you were feeling?
I think I know what you mean by a presence. I can sense something in the house. I usually perceive it in my fingertips, actually. But sometimes another human form alone can skew the perceptions of these phenomena. We could be corrupting each other's senses just by standing here, in other words.
All right.
You mentioned faces.
I did. That's what I'm having the most trouble with. That would be at the top of my list, I suppose. Here, let's go in the bedroom where it happened. Twice now, I've been lying here in my bed late at night. The lights were off. I was awake. The first time, I was looking at my closet there. The door was open. And I saw kind of a faint white oval, about 6 feet off the ground. I tried to blink it away, but it stayed there. And little by little, it developed features. And I saw it was a face. And its mouth was moving. It was saying words. But no sound came out. And I was frozen. After about 30 seconds of this, I felt something touch my leg under the covers. And I screamed and ran out of the room. How would you explain that?
Well, that sounds pretty scary, I'll grant you. Was the face male or female?
Oh boy. It's tough to say.
You say you were definitely awake.
Yeah.
How long does it usually take you to get to sleep?
15, 20 minutes.
But that night was longer?
Yeah.
How come?
I'm not sure. You have something in mind?
Do you know what sleep paralysis is?
Sleep paralysis.
It's a breakdown in how the body moves between the first or last stages of sleep. Sometimes there's a split-second difference between the body falling asleep and waking up and the mind following it. In that split second, there's a triggered response, an elevated heart rate. There can be hallucinations. Stories of alien abduction are caused by it a lot. The sleeper believes he or she saw or experienced something real, but the mind and body had simply become disconnected for one brief moment before syncing up again. It's absolutely terrifying. Did it feel like you couldn't move when you saw the face?
I just don't think I tried.
How about the second incident?
It was also late at night, but I know I wasn't asleep because I was over there at my desk. I had the lamp on. It was about 1 in the morning. I had been feeling strange all day, actually. That sense of presence. I was writing in my journal. The radio was playing very low. The door coming in was open about halfway, and I heard a voice say my name. Like a genderless voice. And I turned, and right there, in the corner of the room, I saw a hand on the doorknob. It was reaching in from outside the room. I saw most of the arm, too. It was like the person who owned the voice was warning me it was about to come in. And it had hesitated outside until it knew I was watching.
Didn't see the person?
No. That made it worse somehow. Just this arm and the hand on the knob.
Do you remember anything about it? Any physical details?
God, yes. The arm was really thin. And the sleeve on it was sort of ruffled. Kind of like old clothing looks like. And the hand was very bony, pale. And I screamed. I screamed so loud my neighbor came. And even after I screamed, it was still there. Then when I got up out of the chair, it vanished.
Did you lose sight of it for a second when you got up out of the chair, and then when you looked over again?
A little bit, yeah.
All it said was your name? Paula?
No, it called me Pill. It was a nickname I used to have, but way back in elementary school.
Who knows that name?
A few people in my family, a couple of kid friends. I got it from my friend Ginny. She died about 20 years ago.
Did you recognize the voice?
Not at all. I hope you're not going to tell me that was sound waves.
No, but the range of possibility is immense. There have been supposed hauntings explained away by carbon monoxide leaks, believe it or not, or mold. The brain gets polluted in a way it's never been polluted before. Irrational fears, dementia, visions, noises in the walls. It's been conditioned to think of certain stimuli as supernatural. So when it encounters those for the first time, the effect is intense. If you think of the name you heard, it's one syllable. Your mind could have literally scheduled you to be fooled at the first sound similar to it.
Yeah, but the arm.
You said you were awake, not even in bed. But it could be that you were sleeping all along. Have you been to a doctor, had a full workup?
No.
I'd recommend first a sleep series, which is expensive. It involves a CAT scan and a couple of overnight stays, but it can be done through the university hospital. There might be something there.
I guess you have an explanation for everything.
I just believe in eliminating the probable before we start to look at the improbable.
Have you ever found a real haunting, then? Or is it all just blips in reason?
I can't call anything I've seen a real haunting. No, but that's not to say that these incidents aren't worth deep investigation. We keep learning more and more about the environment, man-made wrinkles and energy fields, the human imagination, the human nervous system. It's all valuable, and I don't want to discount your experience in any way.
I should show you one more thing, though. Come into the bathroom.
Sure.
Here we go. Sorry, I need to keep the light off so you can imagine this better. If you stand there, right here,
Okay.
and you look in the mirror, and you just keep looking, you might see something. I'd be interested to know if you can explain it right off or if it'll make you think differently.
All right. When on the timeline did this phenomenon occur?
It didn't yet. This is a new thing.
How do you mean?
Well, You see how I'm standing right behind you?
Yeah.
We're real close now. I bet if you think about it, you'll realize that you can't sense my presence. Like I'm not even here. No, don't try to speak. You won't be able to right now. Just keep staring in the mirror. And now, there. How did I suddenly become this thing? How did I become myself, but looking like I've been in my grave for decades? Is that explainable, Mr. Sangrid? Thank you for sharing your information on what you believe I might be. It's fascinating. Paula would have been fascinated to hear it too. If she hadn't fled tonight to stay at her sister's. Poor thing. When you unlock, you'll be out on the road and not sure how you've got there. I think you should go home then, and don't come back until you've learned some respect. By the way, the Dyatlov Pass hikers weren't scared by infrasound. Goodbye.